Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Environmental Social Justice. I'm your host, Wendy Nystrom. Today's special guest is Renee Barker. She is the Director of Circular Economy and Partnerships with Liquid Donate. So welcome to the show, Renee.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Anytime. You know, I interviewed Diz, the founder, last year of Liquid Donate when you guys were still relatively new, and you have had explosive growth. I mean, astronomical growth. So could you tell people real quick your personal background, how you know Diz and how you got to working with her before we dive into everything else?
Definitely. So I've been with the Liquid Donate team since October of 2022. But prior to that, I've kind of bounced around a few different industries, but always with sustainability as kind of the main thread throughout all of them. So I kind of started out sustainability in the operations and event space, working at a convention center, kind of kickstarting donation programs, tracking of everything, how we tell that story, and getting the events involved as well with how they can make sure that they have less impact, less waste for all the things that we host. From there, I went to Postmates, which is where I met Diz. Built up a new social impact department there and was building up that team. And I know you're familiar with Food Fight and the food donation program that she started there. So when I first joined the team, I was brought on to scale and extend the impact of that food donation program. So the pilot worked, and then I joined the team to help spread it to everywhere in all the communities that we were in.
Oh, that's utterly fantastic. So, I mean, you guys had a previous working relationship, which I knew about, but everyone else didn't. So I wanted to make sure that people knew that. And then Liquid Donate got started. So could you tell us what the thought process was of Liquid Donate and how it kind of grew into what it is now?
Yeah, so it's very similar thought process beginning with how Food Fight functioned. We have a network of folks who need items, and we know that there is a lot of items that are wasted and thrown away. So what we did is, our mission is to accelerate the world's transition to a circular economy. And we think we can do that by building this tech platform to solve for all the excess inventory and the returns in retail that often get wasted and thrown away, especially when there are so many organizations and people helping other people that could really use those items and put them to good use.
One of the things I did when I interviewed Diz, I didn't actually know this, but a lot of those large retailers, large furniture stores that you go to, if they have something that's chipped or dented or scratched, they really can't sell it, so they throw it out. And the landfill mass generated from that is pretty large when it is perfectly usable for someone who simply just can't afford to go in and buy it. And you guys, you work with these retailers for this excess inventory, things that don't sell. How does that work? I know you're nationwide, well, almost nationwide now, which is huge in the short period of time you guys have been around. So, do you just approach these guys and say, hey, if you have excess surplus, just hand it on over?
Yeah, so, in some ways that is how we approach it, but for many businesses, finances are top of mind. And what we have built and what we can do is more efficient than what they're currently doing. So that chip table, no one wants to throw away an item that seems like it's perfectly usable, but like you said, it won't sell. It will take up space in the warehouse. That costs a lot of money. It'll move around, for maybe a few months. Someone keeps passing it over, like, I don't know what to do with this, but we're wasting money just holding it here. And then, of course, paying for a pickup to the landfill is expensive in itself. So what we do is we activate our network of nonprofits and schools and churches, people who can take these donations and are vetted organizations. And they can say, I work on furniture and I would like that table base, or that chip table is perfectly usable in this housing program for new refugees. Whatever it is that they're working on, they can just go pick up the item from the retailer instead of the retailer holding it to that cost.
That's fantastic. And it simplifies the process significantly as well. You said that you had some numbers you could share, just so people know how much waste you're keeping out of landfills.
Yeah, so on the excess inventory side and on the customer return side, I have a couple different numbers. Let's see. In 2023, The amount of returned merchandise in the U.S. was nearly $744 billion worth of goods, and almost 80% of that ends up in the landfill. Just because it's a very inefficient returns logistics system.
Yeah.
Which is what we're working to change. And then on the excess inventory side, unsold inventory that is landfilled, burned, buried, or just stays in the warehouse with no solution is worth almost $28 billion in the US.
Oh my Lord.
There's so much that can, we can find a new life for these goods and save retailers money at the same time and impact communities positively.
I didn't know the numbers were that large. I mean, that's a lot of inventory that can be used, beneficially in a positive way rather than being thrown out. It just reminds me of when I was, a college kid in my first apartment, I had lawn furniture for the first couple of years because that's what I could afford. So that's actually, I really do love this model because it's keeping things out of landfills and giving people stuff that they could absolutely use. They're not going to worry about a chip in a table or a dent. But so do you have any stories you could share of like what you've seen personally out in the field of, people that you've helped or organizations?
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the best parts of this job is hearing feedback from the recipients and getting to hear all the stories of how they use the goods. We have one brand, e-commerce apparel brand that started working with us this past year. And we're handling their returns for them. So they're an international brand. They contract out a warehouse in the US, but otherwise, if it doesn't go there, it has to go all the way back to the country that they're in, which you can imagine is pretty expensive. And for something like apparel, it's maybe not worth the cost to ship all of that back because the items aren't super, super high value to start. So what we've done for them is made the efficiency in the reverse logistics much, much better. The items, when a customer wants to return their order, they initiate the order on their website, they get a shipping label, and instead of that going to the one warehouse they have in the country or out of the country, it goes to a local nonprofit that is in our network that is near to them. So we're reducing the miles traveled, we're making sure that the impact is happening locally and, less emissions from the miles, shipping and all that as well. So for that brand, in just a few months, we reduced their shipping costs by 26%. And the distances on average were reduced by 1,300 miles because they had sales in every state, but they only have a warehouse here.
I love that. And, right now, because, we are going to talk about the wildfires that hit Los Angeles, which is where I'm based. People are going to be needing donated clothing and furniture and materials. And what people don't realize, and I do harp on this a lot, is the donations come flooding in the first few weeks.
Right.
But people can't always use all of them. They don't have a place to live right now, or maybe they're in between, staying with friends or family. They can only take a few things. And then people kind of they forget, memories fade, and the donations kind of slow down and come to a stop. What you guys are doing is continuous. And, what you guys told me you're working on, I am so thrilled for everyone to learn about this. So could you tell them what you guys are doing for the wildfires?
Definitely. Yeah, this is a new way to activate our technology. So we've built a great network of donors and of recipient partners, and the efficiencies in logistics to getting goods from where they are to where they need to be. So this matching process, we've now adapted to be for disaster relief, specifically for these LA wildfires. As you said, there's a long-term need for donations. It's not just emergency supplies right away. So we've partnered with our warehouse partner, Packsmith, and what they can do is they can hold donations long-term so that once nonprofit organizations or their clients are ready to pick them up, they're at the ready for them. So things like furniture for rehousing, or home goods, things that aren't emergency supplies, but you'll still need them later when you build a home or when you settle in somewhere. That's not needed in the first few weeks, but in a few months it will be. So we have a space available for retailers and brands who want to donate, even if it's not emergency supplies. They can be at the ready nearby for the nonprofit organizations to get to once they have those needs all set.
And that's exactly correct with the needs that are going to be later on, because most people don't realize to rebuild after a wildfire, we're talking anywhere between 2 and 8 years to rebuild or get, find a place to live. And when people say, oh, we have couches to donate, tables to donate things, they don't have a house to put it in. And that's what happened in one of the fires in Northern California. A friend of mine, when she started the group after the fire, USA, they were dealing with people who said, oh, I'm donating these couches and tables and chairs. And I said, they have nowhere to put them right. This is awesome. We love it. But we have nowhere to put it right now because they don't have a house. And then they're like, oh, well, we have to get rid of it now. By providing a warehouse and giving it a place to go is phenomenal, because then people will say, okay, we got it. They can't use it at this very moment, but we're going to store it. And then as people reach out to us and tell us what they need, we can provide that. And if that's not the most efficient way of dealing with circular economy, I just don't know what is. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's, really heartwarming to see that a lot of people want to step up and help, but we're here to try to make that efficient so that help doesn't go, it's not unwanted, but it's maybe just not the right time yet for a lot of different things.
Yeah, I mean, I myself, I'm getting my donations ordered because I know they're going to be flooded, so I held back. But I'm going to actually be putting boxes together in like 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, and then just kind of keep a flow going, because I have too much stuff. I know I do. And this is a way for me. We all do. I got stuff. And it's just a way for me to be like, okay, so in this X amount of time, I'm going to just make a drop off. And is the warehouse within the California area, or is it somewhere else, or in Los Angeles?
Yep, it's in Southern California. It's a little bit outside of LA, but
perfect.
Yeah, not too far.
Easily accessible. No, I just love the work that you guys are doing. And I mean, you guys, how many states are you in now? You've expanded quite a bit since I last spoke to you guys.
Yeah, we've grown a lot in a year. It's kind of crazy to look back at where we were a year ago. But we are in all 50 states, which is really exciting. And to date, we've donated over 11 million items now.
Wow, you guys do not play around.
Yeah. It's been really incredible year. We've built a lot of features in our platform to make it really easy for users to, for nonprofit users to receive donations, to access everything, and then for donors as well to, integrate into the systems that they're already using. So that's a big focus for us is, looking ahead, how can we integrate our technology with what retailers and brands are already using today to manage their returns or their warehouses or their other inventory, so that it's just as easy as possible and it's a no-brainer to donate.
Well, take it to a couple of tech goddesses to figure this out. Because I studied rock side geologist. So I'm like, this is magic. So,
well, we call it magic matches, so it is magic.
I got something right. That's awesome. So Renee, how do people find you? What's the best way to get in touch with you personally, directly, or also Liquid Donate as a whole?
Yeah, check out our website, 𝑙iquiddonate.com. And then for me, it's Renee, RENEE, at 𝑙iquiddonate.com. Totally welcome to reaching out directly. And of course, we post a lot of updates on LinkedIn, so you can follow us and see all the latest tech updates and platform updates there as well.
That's fantastic. And just so people who are listening and not reading, Liquid Donate is one word, and it's LIQUIDONATE. There's no double D's, just a single D. So it's Liquid Donate. You can check them out. They are doing wonderful things and growing exponentially. I mean, I've never seen growth like this before in my life, to be honest with you. But I love the fact you're keeping stuff out of landfills. You're keeping the carbon footprint down from, things being shipped all over the country, no more. And then just helping people. That is the most important thing, because right now we're in a situation where people could use a little bit of happiness, a little bit of brightness, and you guys are providing that. So I do thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Wendy. That's very kind to say.
Anytime. So Renee, thank you for joining us today. You're doing good work. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm Wendy Nystrom, your host with Environmental Social Justice. We'll catch you next time. Bye.